In this video, we'll be taking a look at 3 NBA games happening on April 23, 2025, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 6 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 3 NBA games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start. If you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Orlando Magic versus Boston Celtics. On Wednesday, the Orlando Magic, who come in as the 7th seed, are set to face off against the 2nd-seeded Boston Celtics in the opening round of the NBA playoffs. It's a tough draw for Orlando, but the playoffs always bring surprises. Boston took care of business in the first game, flipping a 1-point halftime deficit into a convincing 17-point win. These two teams have already clashed 3 times during the regular season, and interestingly enough, the Magic walked away with 2 victories and managed to cover the spread in both of those wins. Over the past 10 matchups, Orlando has actually held a slight edge, leading the series 6-4 both straight up and against the spread. For bettors, it's also worth noting that the total stayed under in 8 of those 10 meetings, which shows a bit of a trend when these squads meet. Heading into Game 2, the Magic are still dealing with some key absences. Moritz Wagner and Jalen Suggs remain sidelined, which continues to limit their already thin rotation. On the other side, Boston is monitoring Jason Tatum's status closely. He's currently marked as doubtful, and that's a big storyline to watch. Orlando came into this series looking to play spoiler and make some noise as serious underdogs, but in Game 1, their bench struggled to produce anything meaningful. That lack of support really hurt them, especially against a deep Boston squad that doesn't let up. It's fair to be skeptical of Orlando's chances here, especially after what we saw in Game 1. The Celtics had Derek White and Peyton Pritchard step up offensively and still rolled to a 17-point win without needing a monster performance from anyone else. Boston's depth is just at another level right now, while Orlando only had a couple of players reach double figures. The talent gap was pretty obvious. That said, we're still talking about a double-digit spread in a playoff setting, and that matters. The Celtics are just 8-14 against the spread in their last 22 games when favored by 10 or more points. That leaves a little bit of room for Orlando to sneak in and keep things closer than expected. If Tatum doesn't suit up, that opens the door for the Magic to maybe grab one. They need to look at this as a real chance to steal a win, or at least hang around long enough to make it a game late. The Celtics haven't exactly been flawless at home. They've dropped 13 of their 21 losses this season in their own building. Meanwhile, Orlando has done a solid job covering the spread as heavy underdogs lately, going 9-5 in their last 14 games in that spot. As our first pick for this matchup, the Orlando Magic to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. Looking at the total, there's a clear pattern when it comes to scoring in these situations. Orlando's road games have been high-scoring affairs, with 18 of their last 20 going over the 199-point mark. Boston's home games have followed a similar path, also seeing 18 of their last 20 push past that same total. The Magic have put up an average of 105 points per game overall, and 105 when they're away from home. When they've been underdogs on the road, the over hit in 13 of 22 games. After a rough showing in Game 1, you'd expect the Magic to come out with more fire, and it's hard to imagine both Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner being off again. The coaching staff will no doubt look for ways to get others more involved too. As much as Orlando takes pride in its defense, slowing down the Celtics might be too tall a task. Boston lit it up from 3 in the opener, shooting 43%, and got easy buckets in transition. Game 1's total of 189 points felt like an outlier more than the norm. It wouldn't be surprising if the points came easier this time around, and frankly, the odds makers might have set this total too low. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. Miami Heat versus Cleveland Cavaliers. The Miami Heat, who finished the regular season with a 37-45 record and grabbed the 8th seed in the Eastern Conference, are gearing up for a tough matchup against the top-seeded Cleveland Cavaliers, who went 64-18. The two teams will meet on April 23rd at Rocket Arena. The Cavaliers came out hot in the first game of the series, walking away with a 121-100 win at home after breaking the game open in the second half. Miami is still without Kevin Love and Terry Rozier, here, which doesn't help their chances, while Cleveland is entering Game 2 with their full roster intact once again. In Game 1, the Cavaliers were able to generate pretty much anything they wanted on offense, and it was hard not to notice the talent gap between the two squads. Cleveland has also been solid against the spread this year, hosting a 49 to 33 to 1 record. So if you're leaning toward backing the favorite again, I wouldn't try to stop you. That said, the scoreboard didn't quite tell the whole story. This was a much closer game for most of the second half. Every time Miami made a push, Cleveland came right back with a response. Eric Spoelstra is still arguably the best coach in basketball, and you can bet he's already thinking through adjustments. Miami's been gritty as a double-digit underdog lately, going 11 to 4 to 1 against the spread in those spots. Meanwhile, the Cavaliers have only covered 5 times in their last 12 games as double-digit favorites. Cleveland should still walk away with the win, but Spoelstra's squad is too disciplined and too well coached to get embarrassed over and over. As our first pick for this matchup, the Miami Heat to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. Miami got dealt a rough hand with the schedule. Game 1 came just days after they had to fight their way through 2 intense matchups just to secure a playoff berth, while Cleveland had the luxury of resting up all week. The Heat hung in there for 3 quarters, but you could see the legs give out in the fourth, where they were outscored 34 to 21 and ultimately lost by 21. With 2 full days of rest before Game 2, we should see a more energized and focused Heat team. But energy alone won't be enough. They've got to clean up their defensive schemes, especially when it comes to guarding the perimeter. The Cavs hit 18 threes on nearly 42% shooting. That's too many clean looks. Spoelstra also needs to figure out a better way to protect Tyler Herro on defense. The Cavs picked on him constantly, and their trio of guards made the most of it, combining for a whopping 85 points. Cleveland played about as well as anyone could have hoped in Game 1. They kept their turnovers to just 8, controlled the glass, and shot the ball efficiently. That formula is what could carry them deep into the playoffs. The question is whether they can maintain that level of play for the long haul. After 83 games, the evidence suggests they can, but it's still too early to get comfortable. Game 2 was huge. Ty Jerome, in his first ever playoff appearance, stepped up big time with 28 points, covering for a scoreless outing from Dander Hunter off the bench. Evan Mobley, a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, had a quieter game with just 9 points and 7 boards, and he'll need to do more offensively if the Cavs want to take a 2-0 lead in the series. I'm expecting a sharper and more aggressive Miami offense in Game 2. Cleveland won't shy away from playing at a fast pace either, especially if they're protecting the ball and hitting their outside shots again. The total we're looking for here essentially means averaging around 53 points per quarter. That actually happened in 3 out of 4 quarters in Game 1. Since Miami's offense has been decent, even post-Butler trade, and Cleveland's been lighting it up all season, this game has plenty of scoring potential. Both teams shot 41.9% from 3 in the first matchup. Even if that cools off a bit, they should still have enough firepower to reach the mark. And with 3 Cavs players scoring at least 27 points in Game 1, the offensive upside is very real. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. Golden State Warriors versus Houston Rockets. The 7th-seeded Golden State Warriors are set to face off against the 2nd-seeded Houston Rockets in Game 2 of the opening round of the Western Conference playoffs. These two teams already went head-to-head in Game 1 on Sunday, where the Warriors pulled off a solid road victory, winning 95-85 despite being 1.5-point underdogs. That win gave Golden State a 1-0 advantage in this best-of-7 series. Golden State enters this game at full strength once again, bringing all their key players into the fold. On the other side, Houston will still be without Yezian Tate and Jock Landale, who remain sidelined. After shaking off some nerves in Game 1, I expect the Rockets to put together a stronger performance now that they've had a taste of playoff intensity. Given the stakes, this game is close to a must-win if Houston wants to keep any serious hopes alive for advancing in the postseason. Losing 2 in a row at home would be a tough hole to climb out of, so it makes sense that oddsmakers still show some faith in them. Still, Game 1 was played at Houston's preferred tempo, and the Warriors managed to win by double digits without needing a scoring explosion. That says a lot. Golden State is now 8-2 straight up and against the spread in their last 10 matchups with Houston. There's no substitute for experience, and the Warriors are loaded with it. Meanwhile, the Rockets are still figuring things out, with much of their roster untested in the playoff fire. Golden State also has 2 proven closers in Curry and Butler, and you rarely see that kind of security down the stretch. Sure, there's a path where Houston shows up and ties this series 1-1, but I'm not eager to back them as favorites by more than a single possession. They just don't have the kind of offensive punch needed to create separation against a team as battle-tested and deep as Golden State. On top of that, Golden State's defense remains one of the best in the league, and they made that clear in Game 1. They forced 17 turnovers and held the Rockets to under 40% shooting from the field. The Warriors have now come out on top in 25 of their last 33 games overall, while the Rockets are struggling, currently riding a 4-game losing streak. A Houston win wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility, but when you look at how both teams are built, the smarter play lies with Golden State. They thrive in these moments, and Houston's inexperience is still a major wild card. As our first pick for this matchup, the Golden State Warriors to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. This is the kind of spot we've been keeping an eye out for, where the odds makers make a big adjustment in totals for the playoffs, maybe too big. Houston's total line for their last regular season game sat at 235, but for Game 1 of the playoffs it was slashed down to 213. After the team's quieter offensive showing in that game, it's now dropped even further to 204. That's a huge swing, and it opens up a ton of value for those looking to take advantage. It's hard to imagine the Rockets shooting as poorly again from beyond the arc. They went 6 for 29 in Game 1, which feels like an outlier. Several of Houston's younger players, like Jalen Green and Amen Thompson, are getting their first real playoff experience, and they should settle in more comfortably with Game 2. That likely means better shot making and a bump in scoring. Golden State has been leaning on their star duo, but it won't be long before supporting players like Podziemski, Hield, and Moody start knocking down shots and contributing more consistently on offense. When you look at the adjustment the books made, it feels like they overcorrected after just one game. This is a chance to grab some solid value by betting on a bounce back from both sides offensively. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.